today I'm going to show you how to make this little band that this little ring that matches this bracelet that we made in the last tutorial. And back off just a little so you can actually see the two. I've made some slight changes in the ring. I've added a couple little crystals, and I did not put the picot on because the picots will get in the way of a ring. It'll just catch on everything. So, and you can also do the units the same this way in the bracelet too if you'd like. You can change things around. Instead of using the little rondelles I used in here, you could use little tiny 3mm bicone crystals or something like that. And I don't know if you can see those little crystals or not, but they're right in between here. Instead of in these units, I used ADOs, which seem to kind of pull aside. And these little pieces move a little bit on here. So I modified that so that the pieces that the ADOs here that we will attach up into this embellishment so that it doesn't move around. And so let's go ahead and look and see what it takes to make this ring today. Okay, for this project we're going to need 4mm round or 6/0 seed beads. If you want to use 4mm rounds, that's fine. I just recommend 6/0 seed beads. These are 4mm round metal beads. However, they're shaped like a 6/0 seed bead, and they have a wide hole like a 6/0 seed bead. So I would recommend probably using a 6/0. And I am using a metal silver tone bead. Then you'll need a 6mm round gemstone or whatever kind of bead you want to use, as long as it's 6mm round. A bicone may also work. You can try it and see. I'm going to use a couple little crystal rondelles this time instead of ADOs in the top of my unit so that it gives it a little bit more sparkle for the ring. So probably about 4 2x3 crystal rondelles if you want to do it this way, or you can use 8/0 seed beads. Either way, it doesn't matter, but you will need 8/0 seed beads regardless. Then 11/0 seed beads in 2 colors. I have black for my main color and silver for my contrast color, and then some 15/0 seed beads, and I'm going to use also the galvanized silver tone for my 15/0 seed beads. Then you will need a beading needle. I'm using a size 10 English beading needle, and you'll need some Fireline. I am using 8-pound smoke Fireline. Put about an arm length and a half onto your needle, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so to start this project, we are going to pick up 1 6/0 seed bead, an 11/0 in the black, or whatever colors you're using. I'm going to use my black, then another 6/0 and an 11/0, like so. We're going to bring this down to the bottom of our thread here, and then we're just going to come back up through the first 6/0 seed bead that we added and pull. And then we're going to sew back around all 4 of these beads just to secure them. Like so. Now we are going to pick up 2. I'm going to move some more 11/0s over here so that I can pick them up. 2 black 11/0s and 1 contrast color, which will be my silver. 2 black, 1 silver, 2 black, 1 silver, and 2 black. And these are all 11/0 seed beads. You will have 4 sets of 1 color, 2 in each set, and then divide it by 1 of your contrast color, and you'll have 3 in total. Bring this down to the unit you already made, the little 6/0 seed beads and 11/0 seed beads. Then you will pick up a 6/0 seed bead, an 11/0 seed bead, I'm using the black, and a 6/0 seed bead and an 11/0 seed bead, like so. Bring these down to your work. Now hold them so that the beads don't move around. Hold them with your thumb and your fingers. Come up through the second, or actually the first bead that you put on your first 6/0 seed bead. Come up through that from the bottom of it and pull your thread through, like so. This will create a unit exactly like this one. You may need to hold on to your beads and pull on your working thread to move them down to your strand of beads that you have between them. As long you want it tight, you don't want it bunched, but you do want good tension and no gap showing between your beads here. Then you'll sew up through this 11/0 between the 6/0 seed beads and then down into the next 6/0 here. And we will pick up the same series, 2 black 11/0s and a silver, 2 black and a silver, 2 black and a silver, 2 black, like so. Then we're coming out of this bead here, we're going to go into this one here, and we're going to pull the needle through. And then we're going to go up through the 11/0, right next to the 6/0 we're coming out of, and pull. And secure everything. Make sure there's no gaps in your thread. Go down through the next 6/0 and go through all the 11/0 seed beads until you exit the second contrast color 11/0. So the one right in the middle, the silver seed bead, is the one I'm going to exit. Then I'm going to pick up my gemstone, like so. I'm going to drop it down. I'm coming out of this side of this 11/0 in the middle. I'm going to find the opposite 11/0 on the opposite strand here, go into the same side that I'm exiting from this one. And I'm going to pull my gemstone down into these 2 beads, like so. And then I'm coming out of this side now. I'm going to go into the gemstone again, pull the 11/0 tight down on top of it. Then I'm going to go into the opposite side of the 11/0 we started in the opposite side that we started from, and go through again. This secures the gemstone tightly in the middle of our beads. Now we're coming out of this. In my other, in my bracelet, I made a picot here. I think we're going to bypass the picot because on a ring, it tends to move. It's not real stable there, and it may cause some issues with being a ring. So I'm just going to leave it off. So we're going to pick up, this time we're going to change this up a little bit too. So we're going to pick up 3 15/0 seed beads, and then an 11/0, and I think I'll use a black 11/0, and then 3 15/0 seed beads. So I'm picking up 3 15/0s in the silver, a black 11/0, and 3 15/0s. I'm coming out of this side. I am going to go into the opposite side in the same side here, like so, and pull my beads down so that they wrap around my gemstone, just like so. Now I'm going to pick up 3 more 15/0 seed beads and an 11/0 and 3 15/0 seed beads. Coming out of this side of the 11/0 in your work on top of the bead here, on top of the gemstone, we're going to go into the opposite side in the opposite bead here. Or actually the same, the same side you're coming out of, but on the opposite side of the gemstone. Go into this bead and pull these beads down tight, like so. Now we are going to sew back through these 3 15/0 seed beads right here, and we are going to exit the little 11/0, the black 11/0 in the center here. Now I want to make sure that my embellishment is nice and tight around my bead, that there's no gaps. And I'm wondering if maybe I need to add another 15-0. And depending upon the beads you're using, if you need to, you can always add another 15-0. But we can go over the top and add another one too if we need to. However, I'm going to stay as it is right now, and I'm exiting this little 11-0. This time, instead of 8-0s and instead of coming out here, we are going to pick up a little crystal, and we are going to go into, from this 11-0, we're going to go into this 11-0 between the 6-0s. So this has changed a little bit from the bracelet. And then we're going to pick up another crystal. We're coming out of the 11-0 here. I should get a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. We're coming out of the 11-0 here. We came from this one, we put the crystal on, went through this one. Now we're going to put another crystal on our needle, come up through this bead here, and pull, like so. And that's what you should have. Now, we're going to sew back through these 3 little 15-0 seed beads here. Pull it tight, go through the 11-0 on the unit, your base unit, and then come through these 3 15-0 here and exit the 11-0 black bead right there. Now, you can do exactly like you did on the bracelet and put the 8-0s, and you can put them the same way we did. If you don't have the crystals or you don't want to use crystals, then you can use 8-0s instead. So now I'm coming out of this little 11-0 on this side. I'm going to pick up a crystal. I'm going to go into the 11-0 here and pull. Then I'm going to pick up another crystal and go to the 11-0 here and pull. I actually like this better because it holds my embellishment on top stable, whereas in this bracelet, as you can see, this embellishment can move a little bit. So doing it the way we're doing it now fills it in a little bit better here and also holds the embellishment down so it doesn't move around. So now I'm coming out of that 11-0 here after putting my crystal on. I'm going to go up through these 3 15-0s, and if I can get that 11-0 on top, I'll go through it too, like so, and I'm going to pull there. And now I'm going to sew through these 2. I'm coming out of the 11-0 right here on the top of the gemstone, and now I'm going to slide down into the 11-0s next to it. Turn it over so you can see what I'm talking about. Going through these 2 black ones, I'm going through the silver one and this black one here, and then through the 6-0. Now, I want to see if this is going to lay correctly. I have to do something with the bottom. Now I think it's going to be okay once we get it on. That gemstone will pop up a little bit. So now we need to build us a band. So I'm going to just do right angle weave. I'm going to come down through this little 11-0 here. I'm going to use black 11-0s, and then when I come back through to fill in the band, I'll use silver. So I'm going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads like so. I'm coming out of this side of this 11-0. I'm going to go into the other side. And actually, we're not using the 8-0s in this design at all, so if you don't necessarily have to have them. I said you would need them regardless because I thought I would make my band out of them, but I'm not going to. So you don't necessarily need the 8-0s. I lied. Now I'm just sewing back around this entire unit. It's a right angle weave. I just pulled the beads around. I'm coming all the way through. And then I'm going to sew back up to the top of the unit here to this bead so that I can make my next unit. You always want to secure in the band, you want to secure each unit twice, so you're going to sew through them twice to make sure they're nice and stable. So now we're going to pick up 3 more 11/0s. We're coming out of this side. We're going to go into this side of the bead. We're going to pull these down tight and then turn it over. I'm going to sew back through this entire unit all the way around it. Now you can skip this part, but I don't recommend that you do because this is a ring and they really take a lot of abuse. You need to be strong. So I'm going to sew back up. I'm coming out of my connecting bead here. I'm going to sew back up until I get to the top bead and continue my right angle weave. Do one more unit. We'll pick up 3 11/0 seed beads. We're coming out of this side of the 11/0. We're going to go into the opposite side and pull them down. Now you're going to sew through that entire unit. You're going to continue making these units until you get the size you want. So you can wrap it around a ring mandrel and know that you're going to add your beads here. So you can wrap it around till you, or make your units until you get the size that wraps around the size you want on a ring mandrel or on your finger. Test it on your finger. If it comes all the way around, then we will connect when we come back. So go ahead and make how many units you need. I will make how many I need, and then we will be back and we'll connect this side to this side. Okay, so I have finished the amount of units I want, and for me it's 15. I have rather large fingers, so the way that I did it was I just kept making units until I could wrap it around my finger, leaving a little bit of extra room for one more unit to attach. So that's how you measure it on your finger. On a ring mandrel, you'll do the same thing. Just leave a little bit of extra room so that one more unit worth, so that you can attach it to this side. So what we're going to do is we're going to get close here. I'm going to take this tail off now and cut it down, and then I'm going to burn it down, blob it. Keep it away from this little 11/0. It doesn't matter if it goes into the 6/0, but don't let it get into this 11/0. And then bring your ring around, or your band around, like so. Pick up an 11/0 seed bead. And then come into the 11/0 seed bead on the same side you're coming out of here. Come into the 11/0 seed bead here on the base of the ring and pull the units together here, and then pick up another 11/0 and go into the bead you're coming out of on the unit on your band here, and then pull them together like so. And then we will sew around this twice to secure it. Go all the way around it, pulling the beads together so that the unit is nice and uniform, like the rest of the units. And then we're just going to sew until, let me get my thread here, until we're coming out of the top, the attaching bead here. We're going to go down into the side bead here, and we're going to begin putting silver seed beads between the units here. So I'm going to pick up another 11/0 in my silver color, and I'm going to go from this bead to this bead here. And then I'm just going to continue doing that all the way around. Like so. Just traveling from this bead to this bead, filling in the spaces of our original units. Do that until you get all the way to the other side, and we'll be back. So I have gone all the way around, and I am right here coming out of my very last, I put this seed bead in here, I'm coming out of the very last seed bead here, and what I'm going to do is a little different on the side. I'm going to pick up another 11/0. I'm going to go up into the 6/0 seed bead here, and we will do this on the other side too. At the end, you'll see. So just pull the 11/0 here against the 6/0, sew up into the 11-0 here between the 6-0s on the base of the ring. Come back down through this 6-0 here, and then begin placing your 11-0s again. So I'm going to place 11-0 between the 6-0 and the next 11-0 in my band. So I'm going to go right in here. Oops, I don't need that many beads. Let's place them down. Pick up another 11-0, go into the next one, pick up an 11-0 and go into the next one. And just continue doing that until we get to the other side, and we'll be back. Okay, so I have placed all of my 11-0s on this side, and now I am coming out of the very last black 11-0 on my piece here, on my band. Now I'm going to pick up an 11-0 and I'm going to place it between the 6-0 and this 11-0. So I'm going to go up into this 6-0 here. Then I'm going to go into this little 11-0 here. Pull everything together. Then I'm going to go down into the 6-0 here. Let's back off just a little. And then I'm going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead, and I'm going to place it between this 6-0 and this first 11-0. And then I'm also just going to slide down into a few beads on the side here and exit. So I'm just going through a few, as you can see. And then I'm just going to slide down and I'm going to pull this bead into place. Right there. Now I'm coming out of this little black bead here. I'm going to go into the center black bead here in my original unit. And I'm going to sew around this entire little black unit here, avoiding the silver seed beads on the side. Like so. Then I'm going to go between this silver seed bead on the band and the black seed bead that I'm coming out of, and I'm going to try to grab a thread bridge. My work is pretty tight, so it's kind of difficult to do. I'm going to go down around here. I need to push my thread between the beads here. So that my knot will go down between my beads and not on top of them. So you just have to guide it very gently, like so. Then I'm going to go into this silver seed bead here and just sew down a couple in the band, like so. You can sew down as many as you want. You can go around a couple more units if you'd like. Make it as secure as possible. Cut it off and burn the thread down. Blob it in between the beads, and this is what you have. Pretty little band, nice little top. I'm going to slide it on my finger so you can see what it looks like. And I actually made that one a little bit big for that finger, so let's go to this finger and back off here and let you see what it looks like. That's what that looks like on, and I think it turns out really kind of pretty. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.